it always takes a minute because it hits my phone and then I can log in. That's usually. Oh, there we are.
Let folks trickle in real quick.
Yeah, we got about another minute. We can get rolling on introduction here.
Let me add these tags in.
All right.
All right, I got the title up. We're good to go there. It should be good to go.
All right.
I had to turn the air on, man. I feel like I'm about to cook in here.
Yeah, well, you're wearing a hoodie, man. That's hot.
Whew.
Still wearing shorts and a t-shirt, baby, till it gets below 50.
Yeah, I was inside all day. It was chilly where I was, but all right. Yeah, it's like a sauna here right now.
So, welcome, folks, to week 7 of the 2022 NCAA football season. And with our Get Ripped College Pick'em Show. Not everybody subscribe to Get Ripped on YouTube and anywhere else you see it. Helps us out tremendously. Like the video so we get that back end activity that we all want and pray for. So, let's see. What should we talk about first? We'll talk general information first, Mike, before I start rubbing things in my happiness at this point. So, lots of unbeaten teams still in the mix, but a lot of them are playing each other. So, a lot of those unbeatens are obviously going away after this weekend. A lot of big games, a lot of great games out there to watch this weekend. C.J. Stroud, Mike, and my pick for Heisman favorite right now is running away with things. But I can tell you that if someone has a very good game this weekend in that West Tennessee city that I don't like so much, they could move up really quick. And obviously, that's Mr. Hooker with the ball. So he beats Alabama. He's going to give Stroud a run for his money, in my opinion. So it should be a great weekend. Let's see. I wanted to talk about my Gators for a second. We had a good day. Obviously, we're not killing it on the field, so I wanted to talk a little bit about recruiting. Today we got 2 commits. Let's see. The first one, Bryce Thornton. He's probably one of the best safeties in Florida, and Florida, the state of Florida has a lot of good safeties and DBs. We have him to commit, and the diamond today was Dijon Johnson, top 100 DB, who just 2 months ago was committed to Ohio State. He decommitted, and now he's committed to the Gators. So great day for my Gators in terms of recruiting. We have now jumped into eighth ahead of the Vols and the U.
So wait, just to be clear, have any of those guys actually signed? Are they actually part of the Gator program, or they just gave a verbal commitment?
Just a verbal commitment.
Oh, okay. So it really doesn't matter. Okay, all right. I'm with you. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
All right. Yeah, good. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago when you were not warm, but I get to do it now.
No, I'll wait till February. You know, it's a long season, especially with my team. I'm waiting till February. They say they're solid, and our recruiting class is solid. We'll see. We'll see.
Hopefully it is. You know, and you guys come in 11th or 12th, and we come in 6th or 7th. So hopefully.
I mean, I'd take it. All right, real quick, let's put up last week's picks, so we can go over where we were. Gator Dave had a pretty good week. Surprise, surprise, the guy's on a roll. He went 7-4-1, and I had a pretty rough week. I went 4-7-1, so we had the exact opposite. We tend to have that trend. When one of us does well, the other one really doesn't.
Yeah.
So we gotta get that on. We gotta get that on track here.
Yeah. Well, 2 weeks in a row, not too bad. I'm running about 65% the last 2 weeks. I'm getting my mojo on.
Yeah, but who's counting, right, Dave? I do want to give you credit where credit is due, sir. You'll notice on the screen now you do have a medal next to your name, next to your face.
Thank you.
You are the current leader of the show, so gotta give credit where credit is due. The father and son combo right now are running away with the college football and NFL shows. So we got to turn that around for my chef Steel City and myself. We gotta step it up. We got to rise to the occasion this week.
That's right.
Put some pressure on these
make
folks.
some good picks. Miami Mike.
That's right.
So we got Zachary's already on talking about that FSU NC State nail biter at the end, but paid off like we wanted.
Yeah, he mentioned that he's glad that he switched that money line. Hey, Zach, that -2.5, man, those half points especially, deadly, bro. The money line is always the way to go if it's -3.5 to the pick'em. In my opinion, that's always the way to go. Make sure you cover your tracks. It's worth it. All right, Dave, let's get into it, sir. 12 games. Let's get it popping. First game is just an absolute barn burner. It's going to be really great. Totally going to make sure I watch. I was going to say DVR. Man, I'm showing my age here, Dave. We're going to talk UConn and Ball State. It is a super ugly game. If you want to leave and use the bathroom, get a glass of water. Check on the games that are going on right now. You might want to. This one's going to be an ugly discussion. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I like UConn. UConn is getting 9.5 points in this game. Ball State is not that great. Neither is UConn, obviously. But I like what Jim Moore is doing. He's their head coach now. Used to be at UCLA, used to be at Washington, Falcons. I like what he's got going on in UConn. He's got those guys believing that they can play. And they got a pretty good running back, too. He's putting up numbers. I like UConn to cover this and maybe actually win outright. What do you think, Dave?
So, UConn's blistering at 2-4, Ball State at 3-3, and you go records. Maybe I should go Ball State. And when you look at quarterback comparison, Zion Turner for UConn only throwing 58%, 661 yards, and John Paddock for Ball State 64% at 1,700 yards. But he's also had 6 interceptions. Here's the kicker: Huskies are 5-2. This year against the spread. Ball State's only 3-3. Both teams have won their last 2 games. UConn's averaging 17.7 points per game. Ball State's averaging 26 points a game. Their defense has come in pretty close, giving up about 30 points a game. Now, let's talk about who they play. UConn's played a much tougher schedule. You know, their losses are to real teams: Syracuse, Michigan, NC State, whereas Ball State has lost to, the Division II teams and so on and so forth. So I looked at the wins on both teams over the last 2 weeks, and UConn's definitely beaten better teams than Ball State. So after analyzing that and seeing what their schedule's been, I think it's going to be right around that 9 or 10 points. So I'm gonna say UConn and get those 9.5 points and go to the bank. I think it's a good pick, Mike.
Right on. Yeah, I will say UConn does struggle passing the ball. They are, I'll let you know, they are averaging about 100 yards a game only passing the ball right now, but about 200 on the ground. They are starting to throw the ball a little bit better. Last week against FIU, their quarterback went 14 for 19. Granted, it was $100. It was 100 yards, but this is a quarterback who they did not have starting the beginning of the year. They had a transfer, Roberson, who was supposed to get the start. He got hurt, so now this guy is back up. One thing I do want to point out again about that rushing stat, Ball State right now is ranked 215th in the nation in rushing defense. They're giving up 190 yards a game, and that's UConn's forte. So
against crappy teams.
So exactly. So I like that for UConn's advantage again. I like the points and maybe do a little something on the money line. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So we're both on UConn plus 9.5.
Yeah.
Next one we're going to talk about. We're going to go to the Big Ten. It's actually the only game in the Big Ten that we're going to talk about this week. I have a feeling everybody knows what it is. It is Michigan's Penn State. I really don't want to bet this game, Dave. I was hoping that you were going to leave this one off of the games that you wanted on the card. But again, here we are. You always do this to me. So I'm on Penn State, man. I'm on Penn State plus a 7. It hurts my heart because I have, a little bit of bad blood in there with Manny Diaz, Penn State's defensive coordinator, Miami's former head coach. But he's got that defense clicking. They're top 5 right now in rushing defense in the nation. They are getting after the quarterback. They're putting pressure on him. I think that only fits Penn State against this Michigan team. This Michigan team hasn't really impressed me much. Yes, they've put up 50-plus against a couple of absolutely terrible teams, but they haven't really played anybody yet. They played Iowa, but Iowa's not great. They played them at home. Granted, they handled them, but Iowa's offense is absolutely terrible. So we know one thing is true. Michigan's defense is pretty good. Penn State's defense is really good too. I think they're going to put pressure on J.J. McCarthy. They're going to make him earn it. We're going to see how good he really is in this game. He's, highly touted, highly recruited. He's supposed to be the savior of Michigan football for Jim Harbaugh. I think this is his first real test. But I like Penn State to cover. I think it's going to go down to the wire, but I think Penn State gets the cover with plus 7. I think it's a lot of points in this matchup.
It is. It is a lot of points. Both teams coming undefeated, 5-0, 6-0. Clifford's running 62% for 1,030 yards. J.J. McCarthy is throwing at 78%. Young Buck at 1150. Penn State is 3-2 against the spread. Michigan's 3-3 against the spread, so you're kind of a wash there. Michigan is the 12th in FBS in points per game. And Penn State is at 23rd. So they obviously both got good defenses. Michigan won the game last year 21-17. We know Michigan went to the playoff last year. Neither team hasn't really played anybody. I mean, I know Penn State's trying to say, well, we played Auburn, but we all know Auburn is trash. So not really tested yet, as you talked about. This game is in the big house. And Michigan's done quite well against Penn State in the past in the big house. Penn State has run the ball better this year, but I think Michigan's defensive line is just tough. I think Penn State's going to have a rough time running on them. Clifford's okay, but I don't think he's going to be good enough. When we look at O-lines, Michigan's O-line's a step better than Penn State's, and they both got good running backs. I think Michigan's running back's going to run and run and run. I think a lot of people are thinking that, Michigan's okay, whatever. I think Michigan is a little better than they were last year with JJ, and I think it's going to come out in this game, and I think Michigan's easy in that -7. That's how I'm going on this one, Mike.
Right on. Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see it going that way for sure. One thing about Penn State's defense, yes, they are good against the run, But that leaves them a little exposed to the pass and big plays at times. If J.J. McCarthy can get going and get going early, get that confidence, I mean, like you said, he's throwing almost 80% completion this year. So they could have some success, and they could end up blowing the doors off of Penn State easily. I definitely could see that. So, but I think it's going to be a good game. I hope so.
I do too. I think it's definitely one to watch for sure.
Especially at 12 o'clock. It's what, a top 10 matchup between two top 10 teams. And it's at 12 o'clock. What are we doing? What are we doing? And then you got Tennessee, Alabama, the other top 10 matchups at 3:30. We only have the two best games probably of the day in either primetime slot. It's terrible. What are we doing? Oh, there you go. There you go. All right, next one, we're going to head to the Big 12 here. We got Kansas and Oklahoma. I got it at the bottom because that's where you put them when you send the teams to me. So, yeah, we got Kansas, Oklahoma. Kansas quarterback Jalen Daniels is hurt. He's supposed to not go. They're keeping it close to the chest. I think there's no way he's going to go. But his backup that came in for him, I mean, he was slanging against TCU. 4 touchdowns thrown. He's a transfer from North Texas. I think he picks up right where he left off last week. I like him to score some points in this game. Dylan Gabriel is supposed to be back for Oklahoma. He missed that game last week against Texas when they got shut out 49-0. That offense is going to come to play. They're going to start throwing that thing. They got absolutely embarrassed against Texas. They got to show some sort of life here. Oklahoma does. And Kansas, I mean, they're clicking. They are absolutely rolling. They lost a tough one last week to TCU, which was a dogfight. But here's another one that, they could easily win. They're going to come in thinking that they can win, that they can compete. I like the over here, Dave. I like a lot of points in this one. The over's at 62 right now. I think that has a chance to even hit in the first half. I think this one's going to be a lot of points scored and a lot of points scored fast. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree on the points there. And I've kind of flip-flopped on this game a little bit, just trying to figure out which way I was going to go. Kansas, did have the one loss. They're 5-1. Oklahoma's 3-3. The quarterback for the Jayhawks will be that Jason Bean kid who was 16-24, 262. 4 TDs and an interception last week against TCU, which is respectable. But now he's got to go out there and play, and he's going to be thinking about it, right? You come off the bench, you're all fired up. I think you've got a little bit of an advantage, but when you come off and it's your game, it's going to be a little bit different game. Gabriel's thrown is 64%, 1,200 yards, 11 TDs, no interceptions. The saving grace here, Kansas is 5-0-1 against the spread, and Oklahoma's only 2-4. So that's a point in Kansas's favor. The line's moved quite a bit since Gabriel. I mean, it started out at 7, then it went down. Now it's up to 9, right? Or is it more than that?
Yeah, no, it's at 9 right now. Yep.
So this thing's moved around, obviously, with Gabriel coming back.
What's interesting, though? It's moved around, but it really hasn't moved that much. It started at 7.5 in favor of Oklahoma, and now it's at 9 in favor of Oklahoma. But when you think about the caliber of player, like you said, 11 touchdowns, no interceptions, 65% completion. When you think about them having him and them not, to me, that's a bigger swing than 1.5 points. What do you think? I mean, that's
you would think.
Right.
You would think it would be. So they're thinking something there.
Yeah.
Kansas defense is really not all that ranked 130th out of 200 some teams. Again, I think it's going to be a little tougher for Bean this week coming in there and having to start. Last year I started looking at head-to-heads, Mike, if you remember how I kind of looked at some of the games last year. And as I look at head-to-heads this year, we look at TCU. Kansas lost last week by 7. And that's with a backup quarterback. The Sooners lost to TCU by 21 points. Like I said, I've kind of moved around a little bit on this, but, Kansas has been doing well. I think that Oklahoma's going to win the game, but I think I'm going to take those 9 points, Mike, and take it to the bank. And like I say, Oklahoma might win by 3 or 7, but I don't think they can win by more than 7 points at most the way these two teams are playing right now. even with Gabriel back. And if he comes in, who knows what happens and to what extent he could play. So I'm taking Kansas in +9 here.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're getting points with the better defense, you're usually on the better side. So I'm with you. I think that's a good pick. I was torn between if I wanted to back Kansas in the points or the over. Ultimately, I went the over, but I think Kansas is probably the side for sure. All right, next game, we're going to stick in the Big 12. We're going to talk about that team you just mentioned against Kansas last week. TCU is playing the other team in Oklahoma, Oklahoma State. What are your thoughts on this one, Dave?
Well, so both teams, again, this is another one of those undefeated. So both teams coming in and undefeated, and one's going home not, right?
Yep.
Spencer Sanders for the Cowboys is at 61%. Max Duncan's at 73%, about 1,300 yards, done quite well for TCU. A little bit of a surprise. You know, TCU's kind of snuck up on everybody this year. The Cowboys were supposed to be good. Cowboys are 3-2 against the spread. TCU's 4-0-1 against the spread this year. Both teams are tied for sixth in points per game, so they're throwing up some points for sure. So we know this is they're going to be some points. Now, interesting enough, the defenses on these teams. You know, in the day, I mean, just last year, Oklahoma State had an awesome defense. And we know in days of old, TCU's always had a good defense. They're ranked 109th and 100th in defense against, and both teams having issues with explosive plays. So, you know, defense isn't going to come into it in this game like it would have in the past. Most of past matchups as of late have been pretty close between these two teams. OSU's schedule a little weak in my opinion. And they haven't had much success running the ball. So I think that's something to watch out for as well. Spencer Sanders has done quite well, and I think he's going to have a good day. You know, whoever wins this game is going to be front runner for the Big 12. No doubt about it. You know, my poor Baylor team's out of it. That one's taking a hit. So whoever comes out on top of this one's going to have be in the driver's seat in the Big 12. Duncan, number 2 in QBR and FBS. So another interesting stat. TCU is also second in FBS in explosive plays. So I think TCU is the best team here, and I know everybody's thinking OSU because of the past, but I'm going TCU and the -3.5, Mike.
Yeah, I like that pick. You know, everybody is still saying this is what I hear from all the talking heads, right? Oklahoma State's defense, Oklahoma State's defense. This isn't the same Oklahoma State defense that was last year. They lost their defensive coordinator to Ohio State. They lost a whole bunch of guys to the draft and a couple to the transfer. Now, granted, they got a bunch of guys coming back. They should. You think they'd have the depth, but like you said, their defense is not it this year. I mean, they're giving up. They gave up what, like 40 to Central Michigan. They gave up 30 to Texas Tech. You know, the teams that they're supposed to blow out and the teams that they're supposed to hold, they do. But these other teams that are, you know, able to score a little bit competent on offense, they give them problems. And like you said, TCU is on fire right now. I love their quarterback. He's got 2 wide receivers out there who are absolute dogs. They're speed demons with size. They go up and get the ball. Highest point. I've absolutely loved watching this TCU team the last 3 weeks. I've been all over the Horned Frogs. This week, I mean, at home against OK State, this is a big, big game. OK State absolutely blew the doors off of TCU last year, 63-17. So you have that revenge factor as well. I love TCU's quarterback as a dark horse Heisman. With that being said, I would probably have to back TCU here, but ultimately I'm going to go on the over because I do not have faith in TCU's defense either, and I think it's going to be an absolute shootout. I mean, this could easily be 60 to 50, you know, points each side. I mean, we could see 100 points scored in this game total. No problem at all in my mind. So I'm all over the over 68. It is a little high. If it was getting into the 70s, I would kind of be a little weary about it just because numbers that are usually over under in the 70s, the over usually does not hit very well. but I like that at that 68 number. If it can go a little lower too, I'm all over it. So that's where I'm at with that one. Lots of
Gotcha.
points. Lots of points.
I like it. I like it.
Next, we're going to head out to the Pac-12. We got one out there as well. Utah, USC. Utah was my dark horse. Well, I won't even really call them a dark horse. They were basically my favorite. 100% my favorite to win the Pac-12. I had them going undefeated. I had them as a dark horse for the playoff contention, I will say. That has sort of blown up in my face since. They got 2 losses on the season now, one at the beginning of the year to your Gators, and then another that was pretty embarrassing to UCLA. At UCLA, I thought Utah was going to have a better game than that. I thought they were going to come out swinging a little better on defense, but I mean UCLA and Chip Kelly, they made it happen. So this is, in my mind, this is a must-win game for Utah if they still want to do anything in the Pac-12 this year. USC is looking like the clear front-runner favorite right now. They're still undefeated. I think this is a game that Utah has to win. It's at home. I like Utah to get it done. I really haven't been too impressed with USC's defense. Their offenses looked absolutely electric with Lincoln Riley, but just like with him at Oklahoma, the defense is a little shaky still. So I'm banking on Utah at home. I think that crowd's going to be rowdy. They've been looking forward to this game. They've had this circled all off season ever since Lincoln Riley went. So I think that's the side to be on. Utah money line. What do you think, Dave?
Did you say money line or over?
Utah money line.
Okay. All right. So USC comes in 6-0. Utah at this point 4-2, like Mike talked about. Caleb Williams is at 65% for 1,600 yards, 14 TDs, and an interception. Rising 69%, 1,400 yards, 13 TDs, and 3 interceptions. So definitely some firepower there. Both teams are 4-2 against the spread, so that's a wash. The teams are 21st and 22nd in scoring offense. Utah lost last week, by 10 to UCLA. We talked about that. The stats were close. A couple of turnovers hurt Utah. I still say that stud tight end for Utah that they lost about the second or third games hurt them a little bit. I mean, he tore us up, and he's like out for the year. So the 2 common opponents that they've got here is Oregon State and Arizona State. Utah beat both by more points than USC. Utah won the game last year 42-26. Utah's been really tough at home, 22-1 in their last 23 games. Both teams don't have great defense, so which is kind of surprising for Utah. They've notoriously been well, and I think that's been their problem this year, that the defense just hasn't been up to the par that we've seen in the past. I'm thinking this one's going to have a lot of scoring. I'm kind of with you on this one in terms of I think Utah might eke it out for the reasons that we talked about, especially the head-to-heads that I talked about. But I still think because both defenses are so poor, I'm kind of like you on the last game. 65 points. I think that they run this one up and down the field, and I'm going to take the over on this one, Mike.
Right on. I like it. Look for a shootout. Let's head to the ACC now. We got a couple games. Believe it or not, that we're in agreement on a couple here, Dave. Look at that. First game we're going to talk about here is NC State Syracuse. It's kind of wild that we're talking about this game. Syracuse is shockingly good this year, it seems. They are top 20. They're ranked 18th. NC State is ranked 15th. They've only lost to Clemson. They had a tough game last week at home against Florida State. Florida State almost eked that out. They got a tough one this week against Clemson that we'll discuss next, actually. What are your thoughts on this one, NC State Syracuse, Dave?
So this is another interesting game for sure. So NC State 5-1, Syracuse 5-0. Devin Leary was 61%, 1,300 yards, but he ain't gonna be there. So Jack Chambers is gonna lead the Wolfpack, and he I don't think he threw a pass last week, so that's going to be an issue. Schrader for Syracuse is tearing it up. So Schrader was originally a quarterback at Mississippi State. Then he became a receiver. Then he went to Syracuse, was a receiver. Then he became a quarterback. So very interesting story with that guy. But he's doing well, 70%, 1,224 yards. So he's done really well. NC State's 2-4 against the spread. The Orangemen are 4-4. Hughes is ranked 33rd in points per game, and NC State is ranked 103rd. They're playing in the dome. We know the crowd's going to be rowdy. NC State hasn't done well on the road. I think that offense for NC State is just going to be horrible. But we all know NC State does have a good defense, without a doubt. So I think that's going to hold up Syracuse and in turn make this a low-scoring game. And that's why, Mike, I'm going under the 44 points in this game. I just think it's going to be a snoozer because the defenses are going to outweigh each other.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dave. I haven't been impressed with NC State's offense even when Devin Leary was healthy. So you don't have to convince me that they're not going to score a lot of points, but their defense is legit. So I'm with you, Garrett Schrader. I think he's a really good quarterback for Syracuse right now. If I remember right, Garrett Schrader, is that the guy that he came in for Mississippi State's quarterback when he got hurt and he tried to run for that first down on fourth down and got helicopter twisted?
Yes.
Interesting that he would choose to go to wide receiver after that. But, yeah, he's back at quarterback, like you said, for Syracuse. He's balling right now. That defense is clicking. They're playing at home. That dome is going to be 60,000 deep. It's going to be loud. Like you said, Jack Chambers is getting that start. He doesn't have a whole lot of experience. If any, I'm with you. I like the under here, under 42. It's a low number, especially for college. But I'm hard-pressed to see, how they score here. I think this is also a solid chance for Syracuse to get the win over NC State.
I agree. I think it'll be like 21-10 or something like that.
Yeah.
Syracuse really hasn't faced a defense like this. So,
Yep.
You can really take a big chunk of what they averaged down dramatically.
Yeah.
And then you point to the fact that I think NC State's going to have trouble scoring, period,
Absolutely.
But I just don't know for sure about, if Syracuse can win by 3.5. So that's why I went with the under. I think this is going to be a snooze fest, man. Both no more than 21 points scored by either team.
Yeah, I think it's going to be extremely ugly. It's one of those games that you kind of even forget about is on, and then it comes across the screen with a replay of what just happened. It's like 14-9 with 30 seconds left in the game kind of deal.
Yeah.
All right. Staying in the ACC, like we said, NC State's foe from last week, Clemson, is playing Florida State in Tallahassee. Clemson is given points, right? They're still the favorite. So, yeah, they're minus 3.5 in Tallahassee. It's a night game. It's a sold-out game. Florida State came out last week and said that their student tickets were sold out. The students could buy some more if they wanted to. So there's going to be standing room only seats sold for this Florida State game. Believe it or not, Dave, they are putting people in the stadium. It's going to be loud. It's going to be rowdy. It is not going to be a fun time for Clemson, especially after Florida State lost that game last week. They've now lost 2 in a row. They had a great start to the year. They shut everybody up, started 4-0. We had a bunch of Florida State fans, not going to name names, who was already ready to, crown Jordan Travis the Heisman and keep that playoff trophy back in Tallahassee. But it's going to be hard-pressed, man. You and me talked about it a couple weeks ago. This was the gauntlet of Florida State's schedule that they're about to go through here. I think they're going to be hard-pressed. I do think Florida State has a great chance in this game. If Jordan Travis can stay healthy in the game and they can get what they want to go on offense early, they have a great chance. But, man, Clemson is a tough team to beat, and they are clicking right now. DJ looks like a different guy than he did last year. He looks like the quarterback that they thought they were getting. Shipley is absolutely balling on the ground. I mean, he cannot be tackled. And the defense is playing better. The DBs were bad a couple weeks ago, but they've stepped it up as of late. And I think Clemson goes to Tallahassee, gets it done. I think it's a real close game. That's why I like a money line rather than the spread. -3 or -3.5, even -2.5. Just take a money line, play it safe. But I like Clemson to get out of there and probably a nail biter. Honestly, I think this one has a very high chance of going to overtime, and Clemson coming out on top.
Well, if you're, we'll talk about what my bet is at the end since you kind of went that way. But
Oh no, you're good. I got Clemson money line. It's on you.
All right, so Clemson 6-0, FSU 4-2. So looking at the quarterback comparisons, DJ's at 64%, 14 TDs, 2 interceptions. Travis looking very good, 63%, 1,400 yards, 9 TDs, 3 interceptions. Clemson's only 3-3 against the spread, where FSU's 4-2. Clemson's 28th in points per game, and FSU is 90th. In my mind, this is a very much improving Clemson team. It started halfway through here, and it's just been steadily improving. We know Dabo can do it, and it's happening. So they continue to improve. I think we're going to see it in this game. Florida State's got 2 straight losses. Their nemesis, the team that's been they haven't beaten in forever, is coming in. That's going to be in their minds. Last year they lost. We've got to beat them. We've got to beat them. DJ's looked so much better, and FSU's got quite a few injuries as well. And like Mike talked about, Will Shipley he's tearing it up. 446 yards just rushing, not to mention receiving yards. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go those 3.5, Mike, and say it's a Gator Day block at 3.5 because I think they win by 7 to 10 points.
Right
and
on.
I'm calling that a Gator Day block.
Right on. So a little dominant experience, huh? You don't think it's going to be that close?
I do not.
All right. Well, I will tell you the one that I don't hope is close at all is the next game we're going to talk about, and that is Miami at Virginia Tech. 12:30 p.m. kickoff. It's a battle of the ugliest teams right now in the Coastal Division of the ACC. It's going to be. I would rather do so many other things than watch this game on Saturday and just stress myself out for no reason. Because it's Virginia Tech, I shouldn't be stressing myself out. They're a terrible team this year. But you know what? So are we. It's going to be an ugly game. I think Miami gets it done. I like a -7. I think our offense is finally starting to click. Tyler Van Dyke put up 350 plus last week, just like he was last year. He finally got on the same page with Gaddis, our OC, a little bit. But our defense is still giving up a couple big plays, a couple inopportune moments. So, we lost to North Carolina, obviously, last week by 3 at home. But this Virginia Tech team, it's a good team for us to play right now in a good spot in an away game. Gives us experience in the away game before we head to this little bit of a gauntlet of an ACC schedule that we're going to hit in November with Florida State, Clemson, Pittsburgh, and then a road trip to sneaky Georgia Tech now with their fired coach. Their new interim has them rolling. So that 4-game stretch in November is going to be tough. We really need to maximize these next 2 games, next 3 games going into that. And that starts here with Virginia Tech. I think we get it going. I think our ground game gets it going. And I think we're able to get the cover. I like it somewhere 31-14, something along those lines. What are your thoughts here, Dave?
Yep. So Miami comes in 2-3, Virginia Tech at 2-4. Van Dyke 64%, 7 TDs, 4 interceptions. Wells for Virginia Tech 59%, 6 TDs and 7 interceptions. Not too good. The Canes, however, are 1-4 against the spread. The Hokies are 1-5, so they're worse. Miami is 73rd in points scored per game. Virginia Tech is 217th at only 20 points per game. Miami 78th in points against. The Hokies are 122. Head-to-head, you got North Carolina. Miami lost by 3. Virginia Tech lost by 31. So we know how my head-to-heads go, right? This game's being played at Tech. Miami's pissed. They've lost their last 2 games. Cristobal's, granted, they're not doing well, but he's a serious dude. He's been around a long time. He's not going to take any crap this game. There is no way, in my opinion, that Miami's bad enough to lose this game. No way. So I'm in total agreement, Mike. I'm getting the -7 and calling the Gator Day block for sure. And I'm right there with them Canes, baby.
Yeah, I mean, it has all the writing on the wall to be a game that, we should handle Virginia Tech. Maybe even a huge bounce back where now we're riding this momentum, 42-13 kind of deal. It could easily go that way. But if history has shown me anything, it probably won't. So it'll be a game that I will be drinking through for sure. There's no doubt about it. I do also want to say this is only our second away game of the year. Our only other one was at Texas A&M in that primetime game for that sold-out crowd. Record-breaking crowd for at Texas A&M also. So it'll be interesting to see how we do on the road. Like Tyler Van Dyke said, he loves playing in these college atmospheres that are on the road. So he's going to get a great chance against one of them this week. So we'll see how he does. Go Canes. But love that we're in agreement on there. So we're going to head to your squad now. Well, not necessarily your squad yet, but your conference. We're going to go to the SEC. We're going to discuss the Mississippi State Bulldogs, led by the pirate of college football, Mike Leach. And they're playing Kentucky Wildcats and Mark Stoops, who has struggled lately after having a really great year and a great year last year. They've struggled the last couple of weeks. Will Levis has gotten hurt. They had a hurt Chris Rodriguez, their star running back. He was hurt the first little bit of the year. Supposedly, it looks like Levis is going to go this one. Rodriguez is going to be a full go as well. Kentucky is at home. It's a night game. Like I said, they've lost 2 in a row after starting 4-0. So they've struggled a little bit. Somehow they're still ranked 22nd. Little SEC bias maybe. Never mind. The Associated Press would never do such a thing, Dave. And then we also have Mississippi State, who's 5-1, and they've looked great. They've actually absolutely looked great. They haven't been able to run the ball, but it's a Mike Leach team, so they don't really care about that. They're chucking the ball all over the field. Will Rogers is balling right now, but their defense is a little shaky. Defense is a little shaky at times. That's one thing about this game that stands out to me is that defense on the other side for Mark Stoops in Kentucky, they're going to come to play. And if they're anything that they're expertise in between pass and run at stopping it, it's going to be the pass. So that's the good news for the Wildcats here. I think at home as well is a big, big factor for them. Basketball season has not started yet, so they'll still have the fans in the stands. I like Kentucky here. I like Kentucky in the points. I got them at +3.5. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I'm nervous. Kentucky has given up a couple big plays this year, so Will Rogers could easily find those at any point in this game. That's my real concern with this Kentucky team right now. And how much Will Levis is going to be able to go? Is he going to be mobile at all with that injury? Is that going to play a factor in that? If it does, this game could easily be a Mississippi State blowout. I think last time they played last year, Mississippi State did handle them pretty well. I think it was like 31-17. And the year before that, I want to say Mississippi State blew them out in Kentucky. I'll have to look that up. I'm gonna look that up while you go through yours, Dave. But I like Kentucky +3.5.
All right, so Mississippi State 5-1, Kentucky 4-2. Will Rogers is flat lighting it up. 72%, 2,110 yards this year, 22 TDs, 3 interceptions. Looking over on the other side of the ball, Will Levis, who everybody thinks is going to be a first-round draft pick. 69%, 1,400 yards, 12 TDs, 4 interceptions. Supposed to play, and this one is, this one's not as for sure as some of the other quarterbacks that are playing. So I'm kind of with you there, Mike, that I don't know if, number one, does he play? And number two, how long can he make it?
Right.
Mississippi State 4-1-1 against the spread. Kentucky 4-2, so we're kind of even up there. Rodgers he's the real deal. And he's just flatlining it up. And they are running the ball better than they've ever run since the Pirates have been there. Granted, it's more to that, fling it game that air raid that he likes, but they have run the ball a little better than they have in the past. The Bulldogs have beaten Arkansas and beaten Texas A&M. I think those wins are better than, Kentucky's win over us and whoever else their second win might be, in my opinion. So I think the Bulldogs have had a tougher schedule. Now, the Bulldogs did lose to LSU, and I think it was early in the year, second game of the year, something like that. I think it's a little bit of a one-off. They lost it. LSU beat them. And that's the one loss that Mississippi State's had. So I'm kind of discounting that one in this scenario. So at this point, because I think they've shown constant improvement every single week. I'll tell you what, I think that the battle for the Egg Bowl is going to be a freaking awesome game. Between Mississippi State and Ole Miss, I'm telling you, it's going to be a freaking amazing game. And I really have confidence in the Bulldogs right now, and I really don't think Kentucky's all that. Just like you said, why are they ranked? And I'll be honest with you, I think, what are we getting, 3.5 here? I mean, shoot, I think it's going to be. Granted, it's in Kentucky, but I think it's easy money, Mike. I think the Bulldogs take care of business, and I feel pretty good about this one. Maybe not a lot, but I feel pretty darn good.
All right. Two things I do want to point out really quickly. So what I was talking about last year, yes, Mississippi State beat Kentucky 31-17 in Starkville, but that was a revenge game. I had it backwards. That was a revenge game for the year prior in 2020 when they went to Lexington and played at Kentucky. Kentucky beat them 24-2. So that is highly something to keep in note as to that air raid and Mark Stoops defense. He'll be ready for it, is what I'm saying. So I like Kentucky.
Between the two of us, right? Because you're going Kentucky, and I'm going Mississippi State, right?
Yeah, I like Kentucky in this one. I like them to actually potentially get the upset as well. So the other thing I wanted to point out was this is a perfect sandwich game for Mississippi State. Like you said, the last 2 weeks they've been kind of going through it a little bit. They played Texas A&M, beat them. Last week played Arkansas, absolutely handled them, beat them. This week they have Kentucky. Guess who they got next week? Alabama. So as long as Mississippi State doesn't get a little too high on their horse, 5-1, they're feeling real good. Everybody's hyping them up. They got a shot at that SEC West title next week against Alabama. We'll see if that plays a factor, and they may look ahead past this Kentucky team, a team that they beat last year as well by two scores. So I like Kentucky in this one a lot, actually. The more that I'm talking about, I think. It was never on my card to begin with until you put it there.
Now it is.
And I'm glad you did, sir. Look at what we're doing. We're making things happen. It's beautiful.
Shoot out, baby.
That's right. All right. Two more here in the SEC to discuss, and then we have one super ugly game that you wanted to talk about. We got probably the best game of the week. Is going to be Alabama at Tennessee. It's a 3:30 kickoff game. We got two top 10. Is Tennessee top 5 now?
Yeah. 3 against 5.
So we got two top 5 teams, facing off. It's a big SEC game, huge conference game. If Tennessee wins that game, they're looking like they might dethrone Georgia in that SEC East potentially. And if Alabama wins this game, I mean, you can all but wrap it up. The SEC West for them, in my opinion. They win this game, go ahead and give it to them. They're not slipping up anymore throughout the year. We'll see them in the college football playoff and the championship against Georgia or potentially Tennessee. But in this one, I like Alabama first half -4. It has a serious trend of hitting the last couple of years. It's sort of gotten on track in these last couple of weeks, but I think anytime you're under a touchdown in the first half with Alabama, you have to take it. I easily see this game being, I think Tennessee competes, don't get me wrong, but I could easily see it being, 14-7 at halftime, Bama, or 14-10 at halftime, Bama, 17-10, 21-17. I think ultimately, Bama's going to be winning at the half. That's who I like. But I think Tennessee has a very, very good shot at winning this game, Dave. Especially if Bryce Young doesn't go. I mean, all signs are pointing to, and this could, just be Saban being Saban, but all signs are pointing to Bryce Young going against Tennessee. If he does not go, oh boy. Oh boy.
If he doesn't go, Tennessee wins the game without a doubt.
I think so.
Without a doubt.
I think so. But I think if Bryce Young goes, Alabama wins without a doubt. I mean, as much as I hate to hinge a team sport onto one guy.
In a bet that somebody's people are making, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think
on the whole game.
I think that's probably the route I'm going to take. So I'm going Alabama first half. Again, I could totally see Tennessee winning this game. It really, for me, is all dependent on, if Bryce Young can go and how much of a factor he plays. What are your thoughts with this one?
All right, so both teams obviously we know are undefeated. Bryce Young 67%, 1,200 yards. Hooker at 70%, 1,400 yards. Both teams come in at 4-2 against the spread. Bama's 8th in points per game. Tennessee 5th in points per game, and it's just right there neck and neck. Bryce Young expected to play. Games at Neyland, it's going to be flat crazy. I think they said a ticket to this game anywhere was like $500 for the nosebleeds. So every redneck in West Tennessee, in East Tennessee is going to be at that game. Last week, Bama had a tough game against Texas A&M. And the backup quarterback stunk worse than AR-15's worst game. Bama's defense is very balanced. Will Anderson, Tennessee had faith in a guy like Will Anderson, so I'm curious to see what he can do with Hayden Hooker and that team, because Hooker gets the ball out so darn fast. I don't know if Anderson's going to be able to get in there quick enough, but we'll obviously find out. The ball's pass defense is their Achilles heel, and which means DBs and safeties, right? And their number one safety, he had a little trouble last weekend after the game. Felony count, won't be playing. So not only is it their Achilles heel, but they're missing, one of the guys from that backfield, that defensive backfield. That's McCullough is the kid's name. He got arrested last week. So, I've been flipping and flopping on this game like no tomorrow, and I'm gonna say if I'm betting money right now, I'd probably wait until Friday until I got all the scuttlebutt that I could on this game to kind of be sure that Bryce was playing. And if I had confidence that Bryce is playing, which I'm going to say he is right now, I'm going to take Bama in the 7 points. But I can tell you, if that knucklehead trots out there for Bama that was there last week, then it's all she wrote, and the Vols are going to win. They'll whoop their ass with that guy.
Yeah, I mean, and looking at Alabama's schedule for the rest of the year, they got Mississippi State next week, like we talked about a little bit with that sandwich game that they're going into with Kentucky. After that, they got LSU, Ole Miss, Austin P, and then Auburn, and that's it.
I mean,
If there was a game for Bryce Young to play a little banged up, out of their remaining games, I think it's this one.
It is. And,
I think it's this one.
If you saw the sidelines and him jumping around like an idiot during the game last week, I mean, I'm going, what the hell? Why isn't he playing? And the kid wanted to play at the end of the game last week, so I think they have to gamble on this game because I'll be honest with you, right now Tennessee's in the top 3 in the SEC right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Until you can prove me different. I mean, honestly, I believe the only 2 teams they're going to lose to, if they do lose, is to Alabama and Georgia.
Yep.
So they are. And now, I will say that Ole Miss might get sneaky on us. They might get sneaky on us, and they could be. A lot of people are overlooking them right now, and because I don't know why they're overlooking them, to be honest with you, because maybe because they're not throwing up as many points as Tennessee, and their quarterback's not tearing it up, but that team has got 2 running backs that are
lighting it up,
killing it,
going crazy. They're gonna easily be dual 1,000-yard rushers this year.
Yeah. So I mean, I think when it's all said and done, we don't know who number 3 is going to be, and in my opinion, it could be, but only because Mississippi State's lost that game to LSU.
Yep.
But Ole Miss could be right there, and I think people are underestimating the Rebels right now. But I'm going Miami -7.
You mean Alabama?
I mean Bama -7.
Yeah, wow, you're eager for that. I might have to circle that one. We might have to, make sure we do something with Miami this week. I'll tell you what, you just can't keep them out your mouth. Yeah, no, I agree, especially with Ole Miss, man. I mean, you look at their schedule too, really, of what they have remaining. Now, granted, their last month, that November, those last probably 4 games or so, they got a little bit of a stretch. They got Texas A&M on the road, Bama, Arkansas, and then that home with Mississippi State. So those 4 games, and then actually before that Texas A&M, they got at LSU. So they got a nice 4 or 5 game stretch to end the year. That's really it's going to cement one way or another where they finish this year, no doubt about it. But again, yeah, I'm with you. I think Alabama's just going to be too much. 2 more things I want to throw at this game, and then we'll move on. Nick Saban is 15-0 versus Tennessee. He has never lost to the Vols. Also, Tennessee is 254th in the nation in pass defense right now. They're giving up just under 310 yards average a game. So, yeah, if Bryce Young goes, this is 100. Like you said earlier, this is his Heisman game. This is his Heisman repeat. It could, like you said, it could easily be Hendon Hooker's as well. This could be his coming out party, and I'm here to stay. But man, to me it feels a whole lot like a Bryce Young 450-yard, 5 touchdowns, 0 interception, first half blowout for Alabama. That's how it feels and smells right now to me. It's hard not to see that chefing and cooking going on in my mind. Last game we're going to discuss is going to be your Gators, sir. So I'm going to let you take off and you do your thing.
All right. So both teams come in with what are they, 4-2? Right. Jaden Daniels, quarterback for LSU, is the entire offense for LSU. 69%, 1,200 yards. Richardson comes in at a paltry 56% for 1,200 yards. and 7 interceptions. Both teams 3-3 against the spread, so we're still kind of even there. Like I said, Daniels is the quarterback, and Daniels is the top rusher for the team at 359 yards, 4.7 yards per carry. Let's talk a little bit of Gator backfield. Montrell Johnson has 368 yards. He is averaging 8 yards per carry, which is second in the nation. The other number 2 running back for the Gators, Trevor Etienne, Travis's little brother, 306 yards, averaging 6.8 yards per carry. That's like number 7 in terms of yards per carry in the nation. So our running backs are kicking. Our offensive line is kicking. Head-to-head game. LSU lost to Tennessee at home, 40-13. Florida lost to Tennessee at Tennessee, 38-33. Remember how I feel about head-to-heads. All right. LSU is more rushing yards than passing. Florida's really relatively balanced when you look at the total yards, but it's been inconsistent. Like last week, we didn't throw for anything. It was all on the ground. Jaden Daniels, like I said, it's an entire offense. He really doesn't throw the ball down the field a lot, and you would think with Butte that he would. So most of that good offense that they have comes when he scrambles. So we've really got to be watching out for him. I think if we key on Daniels, that can be the key to the win against LSU. LSU's got 2 offensive linemen, starting offensive linemen, out for the game. That's a big deal on a rebuilding team. If we lost 2 offensive linemen, we'd lose the rest of our freaking games because our defense sucks so bad. Now, here's an interesting theory. Richardson has played well from a passing standpoint every other game. Last week, he threw for less than 100 yards. He's due for one of his big passing games. Okay? If he passes well and are going to run the ball well, like they should, we talked about the 2 running backs. I don't care how shitty our defense is. I think our offense is good enough to beat them by 3 or better. So I'm going with my Gators. Let's do that.
Right on. I am on the other side. This is a very, very screwy game. It has been for a while. It's like it's really a true rivalry. I mean, it doesn't feel like it. It's not one of those blue blood rivalries of college football like Ohio State, Michigan, Florida State, Notre Dame, USC. It's not Oklahoma, Texas. It's not that quality, I say, mainstream media wise, but this is a rivalry. Don't get it twisted. If either team sucks, it really doesn't matter. It's one of those kinds of games that, a team could be 3-5 and 20-point underdog and they mess around and win the game. That's this kind of series. That's this kind of game. I really, unfortunately, I got to go with LSU here. The main factor is, like you said, the quarterback for Jalen Daniels. Also, the fact that I'm getting plus 3 points, I'm all over it. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be sloppy. It's going to just I could see lots of red zone turnovers. It's going to be just an absolute shit show. But yes, I am on the LSU Tigers for the reason of Jalen Daniels and his passing ability, as well as his running. A couple of key stats that I want to point out really quickly. We may be having some technical difficulties here. Let me make sure we're okay.
I see it's still up on there.
We're still up? Okay, sorry. So yeah, real quick, some things I wanted to point out. One of the issues that Florida's defense has had this year is against mobile quarterbacks. Three of those games in particular, they went. Cameron Rising went 7 for 91 against them in game one against Utah. Okay, that's game one of the season. They'll get it. They'll get it corrected. 2 weeks later against South Florida, Bohannon 15 carries for 102 yards. All right, they'll get it. They'll get it figured out. They had a bye week after that. They'll get 13 for 112 for Hendon Hooker and the Tennessee Vols that following week. So there is a trend there. Jalen Daniels is the above and beyond leading rusher on that team. He has 40 carries higher than the second leading guy. He has 200 yards higher than the second leading guy. He is 100% the lead RPO option. I don't think that bodes well for Florida. I think it's going to be a lot of on the ground running in this game. I haven't looked at the weather report, but something tells me it's going to be a typical Florida weather type day.
Sunny and 80 degrees.
Yeah,
baby.
we'll see. We'll see. I'm with the Tigers here. So we got a little bit of a battle, and there's a trend too. Whenever you pick the Gators, I'm always on the other side. Whenever you pick the Gators, I'm always on the other side. So it's
Yeah.
we're keeping consistent.
That's right, we are.
All right, last game we're going to discuss. Oh, go for it. My bad.
One thing, you talked about, I agree that Daniels is going to have a good game, but I also think that Richardson's going to have a good game. And, this could be a sneaky over. I know you think it's going to be slow, battle, whatever. Sneaky over on this one. I'll just throw that one out there. So, all right, this next game is one I pulled out because it's a Gator Day block. Bet it. Take it to the house. I know that it's a little off, but I did a little research, and this one is San Jose State versus Fresno State. So San Jose State is 4-1. Fresno State 1-4. Quarterback comparison. So Shavon Cordero, 59%, 6 TDs, no interceptions, is San Jose State's quarterback. The quarterback who's been starting all year for a 1-4 team is out, and we've got a backup called Logan Fife, who is not going to do anything. San Jose State 4-1 against the spread. Fresno State 0-5. San Jose State defense is ranked 17th in the nation. San Jose has been one of those underrated teams out there in the Mountain West that no one's thought about. Kind of like Fresno's been over the years, but Fresno is total trash right now. They suck against the pass. The game opened at 5.5. It's 8.5 now because Fife's starting for Fresno State. San Jose's defensive line is tough as nails. I don't think Fresno State's going to be able to run the ball, and obviously with a new quarterback, they're not going to be able to throw the ball. This one is money. San Jose State at -8.5 Gator Day block.
So yeah, I'm with you. Ultimately, I think that's the side to be on. San Jose State spurned me earlier this year. I took them against Auburn, and they absolutely got dogged in that game. So I've stayed away from the Spartans up until that's their only loss though of the year is that Auburn game. Like you said, Fresno is without their starting quarterback. That's pretty much been the issues with that team. Once he went down, they sort of lost all spirit, all momentum. And they've been a tailwind ever since. I think that continues this game. I like the under here is what I'm going to go on. I'm going on the under 48 in this one. But I think if you had to pick one, I like that San Jose State side. It's just I'm not eager to get to the book on San Jose State again. Just me personally. But you never know. So why do you like them so hard? I mean, what the fuck do you know? What do you know about San Jose State? Come on.
It'll be 14 or 17 because I did the research.
All right. So what's the difference?
Researched it, and boom, Fresno State's total trash. Total trash. I mean, and
So
It
it's just
depends
one of
on
those
car.
it's just one of those don't overthink it, just do it kind of deals.
Yeah, there's no question about it.
All right, man. I'm
Trust
writing
me
it
on
down.
this one.
I'm writing it
Okay.
down. When
All
I'm
right.
trust me, Sunday morning you'll be getting a text. I hope it's a good one. All right.
It will be. This is going to be a doggy.
All right. I will take that. Let's see. So that is our 12. Let me get them up on the board, and I'll go through them real quick. Let me give you a surprise game too to give you to think on. So I was torn, man. I got a couple of good ones that are some good matchups that I think could go either way here. Hmm. Hmm. All right. Let's do decisions. Let's talk. You know what? Let's talk this game. It's going to be a good game. So let's just talk this one. Arkansas BYU. Arkansas BYU. And I'll give you a second to figure that one out. Hey, really quick, do you like TCU more than the over in that game? Do you like TCU money line over rather than the TCU Oklahoma State over?
Hold on a second. So,
Like which one's your favorite side? You took TCU money line. I took the over.
no, I got -3.5.
Yeah, I gave them to you money line.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, money line's a whole lot easier if there's not that much difference in the bet.
All right, that's why I gave it to you.
Then I would say money line. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying so you like money line rather than the over.
No. Oh, you're asking me
Yeah,
what
I'm
I.
asking. I'm asking which you like better, the over or
Oh.
TCU money line, just to win.
Um. I just don't like if I can get the money line on TCU. I just don't know if I just don't feel that great about all the 70 points. You're not putting this up on this isn't our pick, is it? You're just asking,
No, no, no.
right?
I'm just asking your opinion.
Yeah, I'd go money line on TCU. They're
Okay.
playing home.
All
Yep.
right.
All right, so let's see. Arkansas and BYU. So Arkansas is 3-3. I thought they were going to do better than they have as of late. BYU is 4-2. Um, it right now it sits at a pick 'em right now, right? Is that what you got?
For yeah, it's at yeah, basically. I think it's a 1 point to they got BYU favored by 1. So it opened the
So
line opened this week at BYU -2.5, and now it's down to
yeah,
-1.
we'd have to go money line one way or
Yeah,
another.
yeah.
So I would say I think Arkansas is going to be a little pissed because they haven't fared well. Jefferson's back full strength this weekend, so I'm gonna. I know they're playing at BYU, but I'm gonna go with Arkansas to rebound on this one.
Right on. Yeah, I'm actually on BYU. I think I've been torn. I initially had Arkansas money line. I think it really depends if KJ is going to go and how much of a factor he is. Supposedly he was healthy last week, or he could have
Yeah,
gone last week, and they chose not to play him, and you saw how that went. Um,
yeah, garbage.
yeah, they got absolutely creamed by Mississippi State. Didn't stand a chance. So I think that's because Pittman was saving Jefferson for this game against BYU. Um, but man, Arkansas's pass defense is not good at all. And one thing about BYU right now, they got a QB. Jaron Hall can sling that thing.
Yeah,
And he's fast, he's mobile, so he's going to cause problems for that Arkansas team. I'm really torn on this one with which side I like. That's why I wanted to hear your opinion on it and see what you thought. Because ultimately, I mean, Arkansas has given up almost 310 a game through the year. Another 150 on the ground. I think BYU, they're at home. If this was a neutral site game, like if they were playing in Vegas or something, or they were playing in Arkansas, I'd probably be all over Arkansas. Arkansas, I think, would be the clear favorite if it was a neutral site. With it being at BYU, I think that might be the difference maker. So I am gonna take BYU here. I had Arkansas, but I think I'm gonna go BYU. We'll have another little showdown on the surprise here.
All right.
All right, and then real quick, I'll run through the recap of what we have on the screen. It's been up there for a while, so if you can read, you probably got it. But just in case, we got UConn plus 9.5, both of us. You're on Michigan -7. I am on Penn State +7. You like Kansas +9. I actually also love Kansas +9, but I am on the over here, over 62. You love TCU money line. I also love TCU money line, but again, I am choosing to go on the over. I think it's going to be a shootout, so that's the side that I'm taking. USC Utah, you like the over there. I like Utah money line. I think it's a must win. Next couple games we're in agreement on: NC State, Syracuse under, Clemson money line, and Miami -7. You got Mississippi State money line. I got Kentucky +3.5. I think Kentucky wins that game outright. You got Bama -7 in that matchup against Tennessee, top 5. I got Bama first half -4. You got your Gators money line versus LSU at home. I like LSU in the points +3. You got the San Jose State Spartans -8, and I got the San Jose State Fresno under 48. And in the surprise game, you took Arkansas. I got BYU.
All right.
Anything that you would like to say to the people before we leave, Gator Dave?
Oh, we appreciate everybody listening, tuning in. The folks that were live tonight, thanks for dropping by. The folks that are listening, please don't forget to subscribe to Get Ripped, as well as like the broadcast tonight, so it helps us out tremendously. Obviously, we'll see how things go. Nevada and I will be down at the Swamp this weekend to watch my Gators win against LSU this weekend, so we're looking forward to that. And then working next week from the Guerin Southern location in Panama City Beach, so we'll be broadcasting from the beach next Thursday night, and look forward to it. So again, appreciate everybody listening, and go Gators.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks again, everybody. Make sure to, like Gator Dave said, make sure to like and subscribe the video. Drop in the comment below any games that you want to talk about or anything that you want to say. We'll talk about it in the next video next week. He said all I can. Go Canes, baby. Let's turn it around this week. I hope. Man, I fucking hope. If we lose this game, Dave. Oh, boy. Check on me. Hey, if you see that score, just shoot me a friendly text. Just make sure, I'm not driving to the nearest bridge.
I got you.
I appreciate you, sir.
You'll be good, buddy. You'll be good. That's a Gator Dave block.
That's a Gator Dave lock. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. All right, sir. Till next week. Good luck, everybody. Week 7. That's a wrap.
That's it.
Thank you.